Okay, so we're in week 5, our final week. Today we're going to talk about QR codes and then special ed technologies. So QR codes, I'm going to do a slide presentation, so that's how I'll present the information. Then you have two links. You have a link for QR code generators and a link for QR codes with teaching ideas. And then your QR code challenge. Okay, make a big note though, both of your challenges, so the QR codes and the special ed technologies, these are due on Friday, not Tuesday like we normally do. Okay, so these aren't due the following week. These are going to be due on Friday of this week. All right, let's go to our presentation here. Okay, so QR codes. First thing we need to ask, what are QR codes? QR code is simply just a quick response code, and it's actually a two-dimensional barcode. Now, what do I mean when I say this? If you look at normal barcodes, right, if you look in the supermarket or anywhere, maybe a department store where they actually scan with the IR gun, this is a one-dimensional code, right? It only goes laterally. So it reads the dark spots and the spaces and how thick the dark lines are, right? But it only goes horizontally. A QR code now is two dimensions. It'll go both horizontally and vertically. So now it's going to code the information in two dimensions, not just one. So that's what I mean by a two-dimensional barcode. Okay, and that's all a QR code is. It's a two-dimensional barcode. Okay, now in the QR codes, the pattern of the modules, so the little boxes that fit together, that image is an actual direct graphical representation of the data it contains. Okay, whether it be a URL address, so a website address, or some kind of text or something like that. So like this QR code, the actual graphical representation, so how the little boxes are put together and what they look like, that directly represents the information contained in the code. So this is very important, and why it's so important is because now all QR codes are going to be the same. So if you generate a QR code for a certain topic or content area or text or URL address, then whoever generates the QR code, since it's based on a graphical representation that will always be the same, every single QR code will be the same for one particular topic or URL address or content area. So QR codes are actually controlled by where the boxes will be aligned in the graphical representation. Okay, so when you see a QR code and you actually read it with a QR reader and it pops up, that particular picture will be the same no matter who generated the code. Okay, now there are two types of QR codes. The first is called a static code. So this is where your URL address is actually placed in the code. So where you want people to end up is the actual URL address encoded in your QR code. So when you scan it, you're going to go right to the destination that someone intended. Okay? The other is called a dynamic code, where they don't send you to your actual website just yet, right? Your URL address. They sent you to another website, which then redirects you to the destination website. So think of it kind of as a middleman, right? A middle website. They send you to a certain website, and then that website will send you to your final destination. And it happens so fast you don't see the middle website. So now the purpose of this is if you have static codes, you can never ever change what's in your QR code. Right? It's automatically go to that final destination. Where if you make it dynamic, you can go to a housing website first, right? A housing URL address, which you can actually change. Because remember, the URL address, the middle URL address, right? The middleman is going to send you somewhere else. So why not tell the middleman to send them to a different place, right? So if it's dynamic, it's what the name implies. You can actually change where you're sent from the QR code. Okay, so you're not actually changing the QR code. You're changing where the first URL address, the first website, where it tells you to go. All right, so that's the difference between static and dynamic. So now using QR codes, you're going to need two things. The first thing you're going to need is a QR code generator. Right, this will be done online. There's a lot of programs, a lot of websites, a lot of companies are doing this kind of stuff. Okay, and they're free for the most part. We'll learn about all the different kinds and stuff and the different variations in prices and outputs and perks. Okay, the other thing you'll need is a QR reader. And now this is going to come from an iOS or an Android app, right? So either go to the Apple Web Store or go to the Android market. Okay, you can actually just download free QR readers that will decipher the code. So you're going to use your camera on your phone to scan the code, and then it'll direct you wherever it needs to direct you. Okay, and it doesn't have to be a phone, right? Obviously iPads, all this stuff, but anything with a camera. So if you open up a web browser on an iPad or even on your phone, you'll notice the web browser will actually have a QR code reader up on the top line. The take home here is you need two things. You need to generate the QR code, so you need a QR code generator, and you need a QR code reader. All right, so now the reader. Like I said before, you can just use your cell phone or an iPad, or again, they come on computers too. To do this, you'll open either Apple's App Store or go to the Android market. And then when you're there, just search QR code reader and install a reader of your choice, right? They're very simplistic, so it isn't like one is better than the other. Just make sure, you want the free one, obviously. But then you'll just install it on your phone, right? Or your tablet, your iPad, or anything like that. Okay, so here are 2 QR codes, and I'll show you what they look like when I scan them on my phone. Okay, so if you see my phone, I have one that's called Scan. You can see the little icon to where to place the QR code comes into play. Only thing you need to make sure is to grant the app access to your camera. Okay, and it should, once you start the app, it should ask you for access. Okay, if it doesn't, then go into settings and just select the app, and then you can turn the camera on. Okay, so you can see I have QR codes on the slide presentation. If I hover over to the black, you can see it pulls up right away and it has a message, Tekin is awesome. Okay, so that's an example of just direct text encoding. So I just encoded that text in that QR code. Okay, if I go to the blue one, you can see now that I have a website I'm going to. And in fact, this is just the website for our class. And so now you can see I'm just right at the website. I can do whatever I want in the website. Okay, so it was a QR code that led me right to the website. Okay, now QR code generators. So to get a QR code generator, simply just pick any web browser and search QR code generators. All right, and you'll come up with dozens of them. For an in-class example, I'm actually going to talk about QR Stuff. All right, so here's the web address, and we really just need to go to qrstuff.com. Right, it'll fill in all the HTTP, www stuff. So we go to our web browser. So let's type in qrstuff.com, and you can see their website pulls up. So a couple things to notice here. So if I scroll down a little bit, let's actually stop it from loading. You'll notice I have kind of 3 things I can work with here. The first is, what do you want to encode? Okay, and this particular site is very comprehensive. I can encode all of this stuff. I can do a website, I can do a YouTube video, an image file, a PDF, link in Instagram, App Store. Here's where I would do plain text. Right? And you can see when I click one, a URL address, it actually prompts me for a URL address. If I click plain text, it prompts me to actually write the text. Right? I could do a Skype call. I could do a text message. Here's where I do email. You can see now it prompts me to put in my email. Okay, so let's do just a regular old plain text. So then I'll type, how about example of plain text? Right? You can see now step 2, I have 2 choices. Do I want this to be a static code or a dynamic code? Okay, and if you want to learn the difference, you can click here. The only thing is, if you want it to be dynamic, that's when you have to start paying fees and stuff on this particular website. Right? So you'd have to subscribe because somebody has to house that URL address. Right? They need servers to do that, and they're going to charge you for it. All right? Once you do all that, then you're going to pick the color. So you'll notice here I have a nice little slider bar that changes my preview colors. Okay? And once I change the colors, I can actually go anywhere in here. I'm just clicking and holding down the mouse button right now. You can see as I drag through, this box actually changes color. Okay, and so when I change the color, you can see, click here, I give it a second, and then it changes the QR code. Okay, if you ever want just black, it doesn't matter where you are on the color wheel, just go down bottom left and you get black again. Okay, but here's where you can get, an infinite number of colors. Let's say I want it to be green. I can hit this download the QR code right now, or my option 4 is I can download, I can print a sheet of these, I can email the QR code. Okay, I can't batch file this one because I don't have the subscription, but I could pay for that and have that option. So if I just download this, and it gave me a nice little information sheet on what I can do for certain fees. Right? And then I'll just put our example, right, QR. I'm going to put it to my desktop, hit save. Then you'll see if I minimize this, here's my QR example. If I double click it, I get my QR code, and if I were to scan it with my QR code reader, you'll see it comes up with example of plain text. Alright, so that's how you can generate a QR code. Now this is actually just a PNG, so it's just an image file. So if I wanted to, I could just go to my drive, and I can drag it in. Alright, so if I go here, I'll pick it up, drag it over to my drive, and you can see that it's right here. So here's the image, and now if I want to link it to my website, all I have to do is just click the link, and now it'll link to that picture. Okay? If you didn't want to do that, so it seems a little weird that you would link to an actual QR code when the code itself should be displayed. So, but if you wanted to, you could. Otherwise, you just go to your website, and then I would just insert the actual picture itself, right? So go to Edit, and then go to Insert, and then insert an image. Okay, and then I'd insert that QR code image. All right, so that's how we can insert the actual QR codes onto our websites. Okay, so that's pretty much QR codes.